Well, good morning, my YouTube followers. Before we get too involved with this video, and we are doing a video on
This bad baby.
it's this bad boy, not this bad baby. So, of course, Squints is in the camera. Say hi, Squints.
Hi.
If you're new to the channel, hopefully you can share, hit your notifications, subscribe. We're actually hitting currently 805 subscribers, which is
805.
awesome. Never expected that. So I appreciate everybody. You can comment. I like comments because I like to be able to reply to all the comments. So, you know, like everyone always says, the whole YouTube spiel: like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification, click. How's it work? The internet? Click. So, so we're doing body work on the 39 still. So hang tight. We got all the fenders on some fender stands, and I'll show you what we're doing. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna do any YouTube magic, as Ricky likes to do. So hang tight. Welcome to Tartaglia's Rod Shop. Enjoy the ride. So it's a rainy day here in Connecticut, and that's where we are. We're based in Connecticut. And the only reason I'm saying that is because we have over 600 new subscribers within the last couple months, actually. So that's awesome. I can't believe it. So the 39 Chevy has a history. I've said it before. You can go back in some of my videos. I've shared some pictures here and there. The 39 I bought, it was 2015, I think.
So when I was 2.
Yeah, you were 2. Yeah. And I bought the car. It was in Connecticut, and I had to use a trailer. It was 2 trips to bring the car home.
What?
Yeah, it was.
I never knew that.
I'll try to find a picture, so bear with me. If I can find the original picture when I brought it home,
I know you have.
I'll share it. I'll share it right now in the video. So, but if I can't find it, I got to try to find it. It's somewhere. So I brought the car home. Come over here. I'll show you. So the car was original frame. So just so you guys know, that is still the original 1939 Chevy frame. We did a whole new Mustang 2 front end on it after we started building it. But when I brought the car home, I brought it home. The body was like this. I had doors that were on it. The trunk lid was on it. Everything else was off the body. I had fenders. I had boxes. I had old military type like drawers. It was weird. I don't even know how to explain it, but they were old. The story behind the car was a gentleman who owned it started to restore the car back in the 70s, and then that's where the car stopped, and it got hung in a barn. And when I got it, there was a huge 1-inch rope. It was a big rope that was in the back of the car that it was literally hanging from a rafter up against the wall.
What?
So picture the body hanging up against a barn, in this big old red barn, I'm not kidding, hanging from a wall.
So the car's so it was like this. So this is the car like this.
Yeah,
so it was
so basically
hanging like that.
So basically the car like this was facing the ground, and the back part of the car was almost to the ceiling. And that's how the car was up against the wall. Had this big old rope, it was crazy. So there was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 boxes of parts that were all the original parts. The body was like this. Doors were bolted on. Still had the steering column actually laying in the car. The frame was by itself. It had a front end. It had an original rear end, but nothing was in the car. So everything had been disassembled.
Like in boxes and stuff.
No, actually the front end was an independent front end from 1939. That's how they came. You could either get them as an independent front end, or they came as a straight axle. the straight axle cars were considered the, I want to say it's Master Deluxe or Business Coupe. I can't remember which one came, which straight axle, original drop axle. The independent front end was this vehicle, which this is considered, some people call it a 5-passenger sport coupe. Some people call it a 4-passenger sport coupe. So I'm going to show you how you can decipher. This had the original bomber seats. So in the back, it had 2 seats that were on each side, one there and one there, and they flipped down and then they flipped up. So the back of the seat was against the window, and then the rear windows here are the original sliders. So you can see that has a little slider mechanism. So the window itself slides. Why don't you back up a little bit, bud? Come over here. So the original windows are sliders. That's how you know that it was a passenger coupe. The regular coupe, business coupes, and some of the Master Deluxe did not have this, as far as I can remember. Yeah, I think it was only, no, actually the Master, I can't remember. But this was the sport coupe. So this had 2 little buckets in the back, the bomber seats that folded up. It had a vent window, original vent window. This is original glass, by the way, too.
Actually?
Yeah, these are original glass for this car. That's why they're still in the car. I wanted to save it. I don't want to get rid of it. And then it had a bench in the front, obviously. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of, obviously, we did a lot of work to it when I first got it, but that's how I brought the car home. I had to take 2 trips on a trailer. So this is an original body. It's an original frame. These are original fenders, so you can show them. Like the rear fenders, nothing was perfect, but it was very clean. You got to back up a little bit, bud. You're like right on top of me. So the fenders were already, a lot of them were primed. They had like a red oxide primer. Here, I'll show you because Ricky's a little bit shorter. So you can still see that's all rubber, by the way. I got to clean all this out. But that's red oxide primer from way back. That was a type of primer that they used back in the day. So these are original fenders. And of course, an original fender is going to have, from 1939, repairs that were done. Like this was, it was almost a brazed patch that was on the other side, on this side here. So we're just, we're going over repairs that were done. The corners where the running board bolts, you can see I did a little bit of fiberglass matting, and that's only just to reinforce because it's kind of thin. And I don't want to get crazy because if I have to remake this, it's just a lot of time and a lot of situations. So we're just doing a little bit of fiberglass here, reinforcing it. This all gets ground down smooth, so you don't see any of this. This gets ground off. And then I'll use a little bit of fiberglass filler and then a little bit of the plastic body filler. So both fenders were the same. This one had a little small spot right there, and we already started patching that one too. So the front fenders, both of them had a lot of small stuff going on that I had to fix. And I never fixed any of this from the beginning. What I did was, here, you can video. So what I did was the fenders, because the passenger fender, front fender had a lot of body filler on it and it was cracking everywhere when I first brought the car home. So I just brought both front fenders down, had them stripped, and I had them epoxy primed. So this primer that's on here right now is from 2015. And after I got them back, I realized that you can see here where this one had been hit a little bit here. So there was some whipples going on the other side. This was the driver's fender and it wasn't as bad. So what I decided that there was no way that I could afford or even have the time to do a full body restoration. I didn't even have a garage or the space when I got the car to even do that. I had a small garage at the house we were living at back then. I had my shop, but there was a lot of stuff going on. I couldn't bring it to the shop because we were so busy. So there's a lot. Like having this garage is great because I can do my own projects here and not worry about it. This fender, and I'm going to show you, was severely damaged right here. So we are doing body work to the inside and we're doing a lot of body work to the outside. Now everybody's probably like, oh my God, oh my God. So I had to go around, I had to re-weld a lot of the stress cracks that were along the lip here and all around here. We had to rebuild this lip. So we're in the process still of fixing a couple things. It's not going to be 100% on the inside, but the exterior of it is going to be 100%. This area here, we wanted to make it look good. We actually are going to do a little bit of high build primer, so you're not going to see any of this. So it's going to look a little bit, you know, better if someone actually took a peek under the car. You're not going to see like this mangled spot in this, you know, part of the fender. There's other ways of doing it. Everybody has their own methods, but my good friend Ronnie, he's been helping me, and he just said flat out, this is, when he did his 55, we call that the fat girl because it's a 4,000 pound, watch your finger right there. It's a 4,000 pound 55 Chevy. It's got a 540, yeah, it's a 540 big block, 671 blower. The body on the car is phenomenal. He built the car like 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It's got a full interior, power windows, wipers, radio, all lights. I wired the whole car for him and helped him with some small stuff. He did the majority of everything. I helped him with a very little bit of the body, but he did all the body work, and every panel, his fenders included, needed repairs because it's a 55 Chevy. So if you go and scroll through, I'll actually put a little link to it right now. So if you look, it'll have a little card flying across the top to the 55 Chevy Fat Girl, we call it. And that's just because it's a big car and it's heavy. It's 4,000 pounds. Car goes, back then, went 970s. It is a big tire car. It is a show car. It is a street car. He drives it all the time, beats on it all the time. The car's awesome. So if you know the car or you don't know the car, you want to know the car because the body on the car is flawless. He did it in black and a silver two-tone. The car is pin straight. He's just very gifted. So it's good to have someone like. So yeah, so not trying to, you know, hide anything on YouTube, but this is reality. This is how you fix something that was from 1939. So do the math, Squints.
That's
How old is the car?
82 years old.
83 years old.
Oh, that's close.
Yeah,
We did the math along. We did it.
Right, 83? Yeah, 83.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 83 years. So 83-year-old body panels. And as you can see now, the way the panels are coming out, it seems like a lot of filler, but actually it's very minimal skim coats, and you're sanding 90% of this off so that you can get this thing straight, and it looks and feels amazing. I mean, it is just amazing. So this is going to get high build. All four fenders get high build. Certain parts of the car are going to get some high build, and when I say high build, that's the Evercoat. It's a Super Build 4.1, which is a sprayable polyester filler, technically. So instead of using like a glazing putty now, because if you tried to use a glazing putty on this entire fender, or even like the old school PPG was K36, the K36 used to shrink really bad. So if you had to do a lot of coats of it, it actually would come back. So you'd get like all these sand scratches would bleed back. So over time, you'd start seeing some of these little marks here and there. It was really weird. So they created this sprayable polyester, which works awesome. We'll do a nice coat of that. You block sand that with, I believe he said a 400 or 600 grit with a long board. You want to get it nice and pin straight. Then you do a nice primer, sealer, and then you obviously paint. So there's a few more steps, but I mean, right now this thing is just, it's phenomenal. I can't be happier than with the way this car is going to look, and I can't wait to show you guys the color. Originally we were going to use an inexpensive paint like I did with the 66 Nova. So if you haven't seen the 66 Nova videos, that was my brother's car. The car's back in California. Like, for anyone that's new to the channel, I'm just trying to explain more so you kind of catch up. I can put a link in the video here to the 66 Nova project, or at least one of the videos. I did a bunch. That car, we used an inexpensive paint that I found through Tractor Supply. And it's a Magic brand, M-A-J-I-C. It's actually a really good overall paint. Magic doesn't make it. It's made by another company. That's actually a pretty long time paint product company. I forget the name. I gotta look it up again.
It's Massey Ferguson.
Well, it was a Massey Ferguson gray. So it's a tractor implement, like equipment type paint, but it worked awesome. And I did it right here in the garage. And for what we were gonna do with that car, my brother didn't really want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and I couldn't spend the time. So we did a simple block sand on the car, got it ready. We DA'd some stuff down, obviously, but we just got it ready, prepped, sealed it, and then sprayed it. We're not doing that with this car. We're actually going to use a really good single stage urethane, and that way we put a better product on it so we can look back, 20 years from now, just like my Nova, and say, hey, this paint still looks great. So that's where we're at right now. It's not that my brother's Nova is not going to look great. It just, it's not the shine. I want a different look to the car. So using that other paint, it kind of dies back a little bit. So it almost creates like a semi-gloss or like a satin finish, which I don't mind on this car, but I really wanted to make it shine a little bit more because we're putting so much time and effort into the panels. So we'll see. But yeah, so we're going to be, I'm going to do some inside of the fender repairs right now. I'm going to spread some more fiberglass filler, some more body filler, and I just wanted to show you guys what goes on when you have to do extensive body work to panels that are 83 years old, because they are. These are original to the car. I did not want to change them. So, they do make fiberglass ones. I could have ordered, they would have been about, I think they're roughly $1,100 or $1,000 each, which I would definitely not spend the money. I think no, they were $800 each. That's just insane. I don't see a reason to do it. I'd rather keep the original steel on the car. And yes, this is all steel. So I even have the original hood that we modified, and I actually I'll do a video separate on that because I'm changing the hood completely. So that's last.
You are?
Yeah, I'll explain it in another video, but I had cut an opening, a rectangular opening in the hood. The hood's up in the loft. So I'm not getting
all the way up there.
I'm not getting it down right now. So I cut a rectangular opening in the hood, and then I had a makeshift scoop. So if you look back on some of the videos and some of the pictures, you'll see there was like a scoop on top of the hood. That's not going to be there anymore. It's actually going to be open, but we're going to use a little bit of round bar, and I'm going to contour around the opening to build it up so it's like a little bit of a, it's hard to explain, but so there's a little bit of a lip on it. It's going to look good. So that's a whole nother video. So hang tight, hang out with us. I'll show you what we're doing so you guys can watch how real body work is done, or at least how I was taught to do it. So hang tight. All right, so what I had to do here, because we did body work obviously to the outside, you can see where there's a lot of hammer marks, a lot of crinkles from original damage. Nothing major. These were the fender exit exhaust areas that I had. We patched all that up. Not using that anymore. This was a little bit of a repair area. So that's just a fiberglass filler. So in those areas, there'll be a little bit of body filler now here, a little bit around there, and a little bit around there. We're not getting crazy. This is only just to make it so it's a smoother look when you look inside the fender, if you ever did. This one here, remember I had, this was fiberglass filled, so I just opened up the original hole that I had here. This is the fender mount hole. This is for the running board holes. These were the original holes for the running boards, but because I use fiberglass running boards on this car, they had a little bit different mounting spots, so I had to modify years ago. So really this is just going to get a little bit of fiberglass fill just to cover that up. We're going to do a thin layer around here because there's a couple little pitted areas. That way this area, none of this, so basically you're, from right here, if you follow my finger, is where the running board mounts. And then this is where the fender actually mounts and gets covered up by the body. So you don't see any of this, but this is what we call details. So you have to, so basically whenever you look at a car now, so I'm just gonna just tell you, so everything is in the details. When you look at a car at a car show, the car could look phenomenal, but when you start going around and you start looking at little spots, and when I mean little, I'm talking, you know, drip edge. You look over here and there's like a little bit of like crusty. You look inside the drip edge here and it's got some cracked, you know, old seam sealer. That's the details around the windows. Those are your detail areas. Jam areas. Do the jams or the door, you know, the body lines line up? You know, you got your door jam area here. You want to make sure this is all nice as it comes all the way down. These are your details. Just because this fender isn't going to be seen doesn't mean we're not fixing all the little areas that you could see if you ever took this fender back off, or if you want something not to have a problem with the paint down the road. So if you, for instance, you look here, this was primed with the fender on the car. A lot of people do that. They don't like to take panels off, and they'll try to do it without, you know, and then we call that, you know, not really, that's not the right way to do it. But I took them off. We're prepping this area. This will all get primed together. I feathered the lip that was created from the previous body work. Not a big deal. Some people do things differently. Can't complain. This area here, like I said, none of this you really see, but it's all about the details. This was the original gas fill that got eliminated by the previous body shop. We are going to block this down just to make sure. Something we've noticed with a lot of the panels, were primed. So a lot of the panels were primed, but they were not prepped. So that's another problem. Something that in the body world, yes, you can make it look good and you can cover up a lot of stuff, but it's not going to last. If you don't prep something properly, scuff it down, scar it up a little bit, you won't get the proper adhesion. That's with everything, bodywork, filler, primer, everything. We noticed on a few spots on the car, unfortunately, it got primed over, and until we started digging in, we noticed those areas were not prepped. So under here, this was all a epoxy sealer. So what I did was I took a 36 grit and I sanded the whole area that's going to get a little bit of body filler, because you need to prep the area, just like with the fiberglass filler there, and just like the fiberglass filler over here. I have to do a thin layer of filler now, of the body filler, but I had to scuff it with the 36 grit. Gives you better adhesion. So that's the only thing that I see a lot with body work and body shops. They'll paint a bumper. You look underneath the bumper and the bottom part of the bumper that you never see, because I see it when it's on a lift, was never prepped. It was never painted, and it has just overspray on it. That's horrible. I'm sorry, but that's not the details. That is missing the details. You have to prep. You have to really pay attention to the details. Now, if it's a regular, everyday driver car, I get it. Just a quick little insurance job, I get it. But when it comes to something like this, where it's a 39 Chevy, it's 83 years old, it's a show race, car, yeah, it's got issues. But you still got to deal with the issues. You can't cut corners. I mean, are there corners being cut here and there? It's going to happen no matter what. But we're trying not to cut a lot of corners. We're trying to really make sure that everything is prepped properly. Everything is going to get, kind of, set up properly, so that when we do start laying color, it's going to last a while. So let's see what we got. Let's keep going. So not too bad. This is I'm definitely not as good as Ronnie, but the way I learned back in the day is I was the guy mixing all the body filler. I was the one trying to spread all the body filler. I was the sanding partner, and I was the guy that mixed all the paint. So that's how you learn. Start with the small stuff. All right, so did a lot of just explaining of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And just remember, everybody does things different. This is the way I learned. This is the way I was, taught by people that taught me, learned. So everyone has a different method. There's probably guys on here that are amazing body guys that'll tell you, no, I don't use that. I do this. That's fine. I mean, it's whatever works, really. So what I got done, basically, I DA'd the fender completely down on the outside, feathered all the edges, got the inside all prepped for the most part. Ended up doing a small little repair here because I noticed where somebody else did a repair where it was brazed, it was cracking a little. So I reinforced it with a fiberglass matting, and then I'll just grind that down. I wanted to let it set up overnight. I don't want to do too much. I want to let it sit, but I ended up, as you can see, that's the skim coat. We'll probably put a little bit of filler, or if Ronnie thinks it's good, we'll just use the high build on there. So both fenders are all done as far as what I could do for them today. Like this one, I also did the, I sanded that area down with where I did the filler, a little bit of fiberglass filler. I DA'd the whole fender, same thing on the inside. I got the inside all sanded and DA'd. Just 80 grit. Just like I said, you got to have good preparation for good adhesion. So what we're going to be doing with the inside of the panel on front and rear fenders is some sort of satin black. That'll get done, and then we'll put them on the car, then we'll paint them, and then obviously put them on the car. So they're all getting painted off the car. So that way every little nook and cranny can get painted. And then we can do the details of the inside, afterwards. The front fender that I prepped, let me grab this. So I did not sand it yet because it wasn't set up all the way. So now it's nice and hard. Now it can get sanded. I'm going to take care of that in the morning. Right, Squints? Squints wasn't in the video much today because it's a lot of sanding, so it's hard. And it's a lot of dust. So, so Ronnie's going to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. And we're going to try to get the car... We're going to try to get some of the high build primer sprayed. And... Oh, well, hello there. And hopefully we'll be close. So we'll see. But I don't want to... The next video you're going to see, the car is going to be in primer and ready for a block sand. So I'm not going to show you any more of the body work because it's just, I think it gets a little repetitive after a while, especially if you've never been around it. It almost seems like we're doing the same thing over every day, but it's not. So body work's not fun. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Squints, why do we do YouTube?
For my college funds.
Right. Yeah, because it's going to bring in a lot of money. No. I do it for fun. Because I like to hang out with Squints.
You just do it for fun?
Yeah, why not? I love cars. I like to do it for fun. I like to do it for Squints. I mean, if I can make some extra money on having fun, well, that's cool too. But I'm not worried about that. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And hopefully you guys enjoy the videos.
Subscribe and share, comment.
Oh, God, here we go again.
And like.
Oh, boy, I can't do it anymore.
And then subscribe.
How about you just say, good night, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our video.
This is for my
No, it's not.
college.
Just stop. So just... High five?
I'm on site.
All right. That's it. See you later. Extreme close-up.